So I grew up with it. So, yeah, it took me a while. You just got to go. When I was a freshman, my freshman year, Bo was Bo's first year of school. Okay. He was sick. I didn't realize it. Yeah, it was just
You did find it, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's up to you if you want to take it off and then.
Well, they'll be able to see me. We
Yep.
can turn it around and be able to see, I guess.
Yep. So however, there you go. You guys are in and you're,
Thank
it's
you,
recording,
Kristen.
so.
Thank you.
It's recording on that.
No,
It's recording there.
yep. I mean, it's on my DDA cloud, so I'll have the recording of it.
Good.
Yeah.
DDA meeting, if you can hear me.
We
You
can.
are unmuted, but the screen is black and there's no audio coming through.
There will be only audio that you can hear from our screen. We cannot link in through the Scio Township master computer, so we're on a personal computer. We'll turn it around so that you're able to see the other members. But
Should put it in like a lazy Susan. Just
yeah.
All right, we'll get started with 6 minutes later as it is.
Thank you, Linda. We can.
I'll call the meeting to order. We got some Zoom difficulties again.
So it is 12:06.
Roll call, Gus. Here. Boggs. Here. Hathaway.
Here.
Hershey. Holland. Here. Yapple. Here. Stites here. Smith.
Here.
Tankenau. Full crowd. Thank you guys for showing up. Take a look at the agenda, see if you want to add or delete or okay it. Got a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Gus?
Public participation. Any out here? Let's try to, maybe we can listen up. Rob, if you want to say something, we can.
Are there any hands raised for public participation?
We're looking, Rob, we're looking on a laptop at you.
No public comment. Thanks.
Okay, no, I see no hands raised.
Connected to Matt too. He's connected.
Matt is not here yet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm just sending him a note right now.
Okay.
Okay, just send him a link on.
Yes, I'm trying to get there.
Gotcha.
Guess, do we want to, he'll be on, maybe we'll wait a little while, just 10 minutes.
We can start and have the discussion and then we can jump Matt in.
I don't think so. I put her on there.
No, it was just Matt.
Confirmation from her.
Can I break in for just a moment?
Public, still, I guess we're not moving. Go ahead. Public comments, go ahead, Rob.
Linda, you said you're doing this on a personal computer. If you're recording it to the computer, you'll need to give the township a flash drive of the recording.
Christie's got it handled, Rob. We're
Okay.
good. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Appreciate your help.
Yep. I guess we can just start with our first subject and the utilities. We've got Brandon McNeil's here, who's the director of Scio Utility. If you don't know, and I put everybody's titles down because a lot of people don't know who's doing what. And again, OHM is a large engineering firm in Michigan, and we contract them out to do a lot of our work along with Brandon. So yeah, I just put down the comment, so everybody knows who everybody is that's going to talk today. But you know, well, when I talk to these guys, I wanted to just have them educate us on and update us on utility needs in the DDA, maybe what's happening in the future, what they need now. Just turn it over.
Oh, thanks for having me, Board. It's definitely a pleasure being in front of you guys. So Matt did have a seal that he wanted to talk about, and I didn't know exactly what
Linda, you muted yourself. You're still muted.
For the DDA district as far as commercial, and residential buildings. So there is quite a big investment that we'll be trying to push to have, be made in that pump station. Some of the thoughts on it right now would be, our current pump station, expanding the wet well to allow more flow into the wet well. Definitely need to upgrade the pumps. The pumps would be undersized here pretty shortly, for the capacity of flow that flows in there. We talked about perhaps, a redundant pump station, on Jackson Road. Currently, this is of course, our only pump station that feeds to, the city of Ann Arbor. We have no redundant system or redundant sewer main. Therefore, if something happened on the sewer main, it would be pretty disastrous for a little while. There's not a lot of capacity at our station to hold excess sewer flow that continues to flow to the station. And again, as I stated, there's no redundant sewer main currently or bypasses in place to bypass certain sections, to continue the flow while the repair is being made. So it was proposed that perhaps we build another pump station, or we do in fact just put in a whole new redundant sewer main all the way from the pump station to the city of Ann Arbor. So we are setting aside considerable funds to address that issue. So that'd be the first thing that would be, critical to the DDA district, specifically, and it does benefit the rest of the township as well. But as you guys know, the commercial restaurants, and buildings of those such demand more REUs in order for us to run those establishments in the DDA district. We need more sewer capacity, and we need to make those upgrades to the pump station. The second one that is being proposed to be done next year is a new valve from the city of Ann Arbor. Our original valve that controls the water flow is the original one, so it's somewhere around 1985. So it needs to be upgraded. We're proposing that this is a $810,000 budgeted project. We're gonna upgrade it to a variable flow type valve so that it's not constantly on or off all the way. It flows to the needs of the tower and demand in the system. It's easier on the valve itself, and we have a more reliable solution for the future. If this valve was to break, we have one smaller bypass in the system, and obviously we haven't had to use it, but I'm not sure how good the flow is coming out of there. So that is a second one that is a high priority that we are currently going to be working on OHM here shortly to get that budgeted and engineering start working on it and stuff like that. Another one that we're talking about and I'm currently working on is a sewer contract for maintaining and cleaning and televising our sewers. This has been a standard practice every year besides the last 3 years that I'm aware of with Scio Township. It's critical to the infrastructure in the ground that we clean and maintain the sewer system on a yearly basis. We do a certain amount. And then from what I was told, talking to prior directors, we don't have a good recent catalog of our television being done of the sewers. So that is a critical thing that I will be asking to be done over the next 7 years when I bring it to the board. Is 1/7 of the city or township, for that matter, would be clean and televised. So we have good records of exactly what's going on with our pipes. This will help us better understand when we need to do repairs or lining, where basically it coats the inside of the pipe, so it preserves the pipe for a longer amount of time. where we don't have to dig it up and completely replace it, costing a lot more money. So this is something that will be, again, critical in the DDA district. Specifically, we have, I believe it's the 16-inch sewer main. Don't quote me on that. It is the original sewer main. It is, from what I'm told, extremely deep, around 30 feet in some areas. So instant happens there, you could be looking at $1 million to get it dug up, replaced, or fixed, whatever we need to have done. So the more active we are with televising and cleaning and helping our infrastructure out, the better off we're gonna be. So we are working on that. We set aside $180,000 a year for that work to be done. I can tell you that we got our quote came back. We sent it out to 5 vetted vendors. Only 2 joined to the pre-bid meeting and only 1 gave us a quote for the work. And the average price over 5 years is the way I did it originally, was right around $340,000 a year for only a portion of each year of the township being taken care of. So a lot higher than what we originally thought. I am not bringing that amount to the board. I have since talked and we negotiated and got down to a more comfortable number over 7 years. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm viewing still another couple of options about what we could possibly do if we're going to bring that in-house, or have a consortium with a fellow township or city where we can share equipment to cut down the cost. Recently, we did hire 2 new staff personnel. And luckily, one has 19 years of experience running Vector trucks and another one has 6 years. And one is certified in order to do the televising and rating of the pipes to figure out what condition they're in. Luckily, the most recent one is certified in that. So we have the skilled personnel to do it now. It's just getting the right equipment, which is more expensive up front than paying for the sewer contract to be done yearly. But the savings in the long run will be far more for the township. So it's just something that I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach right now before me and Joyce bring it to the board. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Basically, we're looking at, with the new ways proposed, $250 a year, not to exceed, for sewer cleaning and televising. And then on top of that, each subsequent year, we also added another $200,000 to the capital improvement plan for repairs, for lining of the sewer mains to make sure that the infrastructure stays good. We also want to cut down any water getting into our sewer main as much as possible, because that does eat up capacity that we negotiate with the city of Ann Arbor. So the more water we can keep out of our system, the more REUs the district and the township is going to have available to have more development come in. So that is something that we are trying to make sure we dedicate ourselves to, is making sure our system is taken care of as well as it can be in that realm as well. Another thing that I guess kind of goes along with being proactive on our own end, trying to have things be taken in-house so we can reduce on cost. I do think it could be a good option for you guys if it's something that you're interested in. Would be a utility garage for Scio Township. Currently, our garage is located in the back of this building attached to our offices. It is not a long-term solution. It is not feasible for us to do work in-house as far as some of the majority of the major work that needs to be done. Sewer cleaning, you need a big Vector truck. You also need a TV truck in order to camera the sewer. A backhoe would be nice at some point in time to do our own digs to help out with cost. Anytime a curb box is offset in a residential area or commercial area, right now we don't have the backhoe to dig that up on our own behalf, reset it. So the cost is solely given to the commercial owner or the residential owner to have somebody come in and do that work. In other places where I came from, other than like concrete or asphalt replacement, we would do the digging of the curb box and resetting it on basically with the funds that we already accumulated from all the residents, it'd be something that we would do. And so, that's an added benefit of having it. Of course, we just had a main break next to the cinema that's no longer in use. It was an asphalt and it was in an area that for us would have been easily able for us to do it on our own. However, we had to contract that out. I am still waiting on that bill. And when the bill comes in, it is what it is. That's the problem with the emergencies. You don't get to negotiate the price up front. You say, I need your help. They come in, they do the job, and then they just send you what they want to send you. That main break, we probably could have done on our own for under $5,000 with our own team and equipment costs at an hourly rate that we already had on hand. I doubt that it's gonna be anywhere close to that when we actually get that bill in. But that's something that would be great, you know, would be extremely helpful if we had our own backhoe. So just for the growth of Scio Township's utility department, taking care of it, having a feasible utility barn. As you'll see in most cities and townships, they have that. It just allows us to do more work inside. This township is growing immensely, with no signs of slowing down. We're not that tiny little sewer water district. I think I keep hearing over and over and over again. I think what I wrote down is we have over 70 miles of water and 40-ish, 43 miles of sewer, and steadily growing with each new development. So we're not exactly tiny anymore. And it's just going to continue to grow. And therefore the demand of the utility department is going to keep growing. And the older the pipes get, the more money it's going to cost to maintain them. So the more you can bring that in-house and have your own crews do them, the more money the township's going to save overall. The water tower is already getting done. I just thought I'd mention it. That came in well under budget. I think it was budgeted for 300,000 and the whole budget came in the whole project came in at 180-ish thousand. So that's going to be done in September 5th through October 5th, I believe is what we have scheduled. So the bottom of the tower up until like the bottom quarter of the bowl is going to be a dark green. And then above that is going to be white, but then we have our new Scio Township logo that will be put on there. So that will be done as well as other repairs to the tower. It's going to be repainted, of course. Some interior spots are going to be refinished. Light bulb needs to be changed up top. We need a new harness system to get up and down the water tower. So that's being replaced. And so all that work is definitely need to be done. The hatch doesn't have a proper seal on it up there. A new one that's EVIL compliant. So that's going to be done as well. And then our discharge tube does not have a screen covering it. So that will be done as well. So that work has been already approved by the board and is slated to be due in September. Matt was gonna have the whole CIP list on the screen. But,
Matt is with us.
I'm trying to go just off the DDA. Another good project that we're working on right now that does give us a considerable amount of money is the meter replacement program. That's happening in the DDA. Not sure it's something that would be a good suit for what you guys are looking at, but I thought I'd just mention it. So if you hadn't have, as recent as your new build was done or your commercial property was done, or a residential house was built in a specific DDA, your meter is as old as your house is. There's been no meter updates or active meter updates in Scio Township. So this is the first true meter replacement program that the township has started. So I know in the upland districts and certain other areas, if their house was built in 1989 and for some reason their meter has never had to be replaced because the battery stopped working or anything like that, it still has that meter. And so updating these meters is crucial. We had a lot of billing issues when I first got here because the meters were failing. The MX2, which is how it, we get a read to from our computer. Those were failing at a high rate. And so I definitely push doing a meter replacement program. So now we have Metrons that are being put in that use Verizon wireless towers. And it sends it right to a website, and then we can get the reads right off of there. Also, a good thing with the meters is it used to take 3 months unless the resident or owner called and said, hey, we think we got a leak. It would take 3 months for me to get that report to say, hey, wow, this bill is way higher. They use 20 more units than what they normally use. Let's go out there and help them figure out. I can get that minute by minute now with this new Metron meter. And then also, after about a month or so of it being installed, the owner or residential owner now has the ability to see their specific meter information and be proactive with checking for leaks, monitoring how much water they're using, if they really want to be sustainable, and a lot of other things. You can go in there and set parameters so that it will email you or text you as soon as these things are happening, and you can be at peace of mind. So if somebody travels for 3 months out of the year, they can set these parameters, and it will send you a text or email saying, hey, you just used 20 units of water last night. That's not possible. I must have a leak in my house. They can call a friend, a relative, get a plumber in there, or do whatever they need to do to get that fixed, instead of letting it keep running forever. So these are really good things that are gonna really benefit. Right now, it costs an estimated $1.6 million over the next 5 years, $400,000 each year for us to buy the meters. And right now we're just doing those in-house, opposed to contracting it out. Those are gonna be another, I only got one quote. That's all I could get, was about another 500 to 600,000 just to do the residential only. And so I thought it would be better just to schedule a few overtime hours here and there and do that in-house. So far, it's been really good. We've been primarily, that's what we do every day, is meter swaps. You know, one person has usually about 8 orders a piece. And so we've been really focusing on the Upland district, but other places have been calling other areas in the township. So we're really focusing on residential. Soon, we have a lot of commercial sized meters that we'll be reaching out. If you have a 2-inch meter or smaller, your meter is covered by the rates that you've been paying for all this time. If your meter is over 2 inches, per our ordinance, that meter does have to be bought by the property owner. We don't have a whole lot of those in our system, honestly. So not too many people will be affected, and those are our main priority ones. So we'll be more than happy to help work with that property owner on when we get that money brought in so that we can buy it and get it put in. There's gonna be no like mandate or rush for everything here. We just have that people are proactive with it over the next couple of years. Just make it a priority to get with me so we can get that situated.
Questions? Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me? I'm logged in
Yes, we
too.
can hear you, Matt.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, Brandon was on a roll, so I just let him go. So I apologize. I thought we were starting at like 12:30 or so. So
Anything you wanna
Brandon,
add?
did you went through the CIP list? Did you want me to share that screen up just to go through it, make sure we didn't miss anything?
They can't see it, Matt. We can't link to the main computer. We're doing this on a personal computer. So
Okay.
you can send it and I can hold it up really high, but it's only marginally useful.
Yeah, I'll email it out to the
Just
group.
forward it to us and then we'll send it out to everybody, but.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. And then,
Share screen, and then it will be on the Zoom link.
okay.
We'll get it,
Yeah.
Rob. Thank you.
Yeah. So Brandon went through the upcoming CIP stuff. I mean, kind of Scio goes in cycles. I've been the engineer out there since 2005, and our firm's been involved since about 99. But we go on this cycle of about, 8-9 years of studies and things that Eagle requires, and then we implement, and then we go through master planning and studies and we implement. And I would say right now we're, after the completion of the Liberty Road water main loop, which was a a big to-do for Scio's drinking water system and supplying redundancy to the whole west side of Scio. Brandon's come in and really started off by tackling a sewer televising cleaning program. That's something that previous utility director Scott Martin was really proactive in. It kind of went by the wayside a little bit. He's planning on getting back in there and making sure the Scio sanitary sewer system is very dry. So two things there. The water, you're connected to Ann Arbor in two spots. Two primary spots that affect the DDA. One being Liberty Road over by Summerfield Glen, and then at Wagner and Jackson. Wagner and Jackson obviously is the main feed with the main meter, and that gets the majority of the water comes in through there, and then it's boosted at the Wagner Road booster station, and then it fills the tower, and then the tower provides that backup pressure from the west side. The Scio, the way the contract's written with the city of Ann Arbor is this water district is virtually the entire township. However, water main doesn't exist in the entire township. It's virtually the Liberty Road corridor now. And only north of that, the Jackson Road corridor, and really only with the exclusion of a little tiny bit of Baker Road and a little bit of Zeeb Road, it's really just south of 94, and it stretches all the way out to the west side of the township. So that's really your main line, and really kind of overlapping the DDA. I know the DDA was originally involved in putting everything in the first place. Sanitary sewer wise, it's a lot different. It's virtually the same footprint. There's a couple of differences, but the contract limit is very specific and very limited. It is not even close to being the whole township. It's virtually just the Jackson Road corridor, and then areas that are currently served by public sewer, which includes things that are now along Jackson would be the new Scio View development, polo fields. You got up and down a little bit of up Zeeb Road, nothing across on the other side of Baker. And then when the DDA helped with the road commission put in the Jackson Road Boulevard extension, they put a brand new sanitary sewer down through the median over there. So everything kind of funnels into the Zeeb Road pump station over by Weingart's, and then force mained out. That is the heartbeat of the sewer collection system, is that station there. That's what Brandon probably has to pay the most attention to, both for just making sure it's operational, and then making sure that when we discharge the Ann Arbor, our hydrogen sulfide limits aren't being exceeded. We spend a lot of time and energy with the Ann Arbor working on that. So once Brandon starts video and televising and making sure the system's still holding up and is dry and is doing what it needs to do, there's a couple of critical things that need to be done. We need to identify any leaks in the system and fix them, because there's no reason to pay and treat for sewage in Ann Arbor. That's just groundwater. There's a daily maximum limit. That's what the contract's based on. So every drop of water we can keep out of that system that isn't somebody physically flushing it keeps us under that contract capacity. We are close to that limit. I can't tell you exactly when we're going to run out, but if you get 3 or 4 more developments the size of Woodview Commons, we'll be done. So that's very, very important for us to televise, clean, identify, and then remeter. We did this about 8 years ago. We work with Eagle, and then we can sit down with Ann Arbor and negotiate whether or not we need to ask for more and redo a contract. So that's probably the most important thing that needs to be done in the next 24 months, is identifying what we have, metering, and sitting down with Ann Arbor and negotiating that. So those are things that don't necessarily want to be negotiating or be talking about. If there's a strategy to it, and Ann Arbor knows that we're going to be asking at some point, but a lot of it has to do with the board and their vision for the township, the current master plan, and how they want to grow. So all that kind of plays together. I've been talking to township manager Parker a little bit about starting some of this, and more recently Brandon. But before we do anything, we got to get in the system and make sure everything's holding up the way we think it is. The good news is Scio has a very young, very well-maintained system. Even though we didn't do a lot of cleaning and televising for the last 3 or 4 years, it's not that old relative to other systems nearby, and the amount of maintenance done on it, for the first 10, 20 years of its life was very well done. So I'll stop there and pause because I just spit a lot of words out of my mouth. I didn't have anything planned because PowerPoint wise, and for some reason my video isn't working either, so I apologize for that. But if there's any specific questions about sewer contract capacity, Zebra Road pump station, physical capacity limitations, water, drinking water, it all kind of is rolled into the CIP. But there's a lot of things that are 5, 8, 10, 15 years out that aren't in there. They're kind of, they were thought about, but they're not necessarily earmarked for money necessarily right away. But they're things that need to be started to be thought about for sure.
Good. Thanks, Matt. We got a couple questions for you guys. Jay, go ahead.
Hi, Matt, Jay Holland.
Hey, Jay.
You've been busy. So I to help me better understand this, because and some things I've heard of in the past. Is the DDA involved in the capital improvement plan?
As far as the township utilities goes, no, not this year, it was not.
Okay, so that's something we might want to look at.
Yeah, it's a kind of a new process too. I mean, Jay, we've had capital improvements plans in the past, but nothing like the one that was put together this year. It was virtually a spreadsheet. It was a
Yeah,
spreadsheet
there's some really
before.
good things in there that could really help.
Yeah, but this year, I think, with Plant Moran's involvement and other, people involved in OHM was only loosely involved. But that we helped bring forward some of the projects to Brandon. But I think this is an important thing to remember. The capital improvement plan is a living, breathing document. So it's just something to get the projects down, and then it helps you go through your budgeting process. So, the capital improvement plan that Brandon's talking about that you'll have a copy of, that's new, but it's probably going to have to be relooked at, here again in 3-4 months from now, because you should be looking at it again 6 months in front of your next budget cycle.
DDA might want to look at. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I see the need. I'm kind of concerned that there's a need for records, and that you're going to redo these televising. Is this going to be like a new baseline, Brandon?
Yeah, so when I came from Genesee County Water and Waste, is set up way different than this is here. Essentially Genesee County, they have their own water and sewer division. They have their own water treatment plant, their own water sewer station, and they take care of the majority of all the townships and cities' water and sewer. Unlike how it's all separate here, and they try to have a goal of they clean and televise each section of sewer main once every 7 years.
So is Scio, Matt and Brandon both, is Scio looking at or considering pre-treating? Would that help with our reduce our transmission? I hear the transmission line maybe getting too small. Matt, we've talked about it before. There's a possibility that pre-treating might help with that transmission, or is our capacity just going to be gone?
No, you can't look at, unless you're getting into the wastewater treatment plant business, which that has been explored by Scio in the past. The only thing that we've looked at is like an EQ basin, like something to store. If you were having high peak days or days where you might exceed your maximum contract capacity, you could hold back some of that flow until you were approaching a period where less sewer is going to be used, and you can send it then. There's not really the way the system's designed, it's not like everything gravity flows and then you have a short little pump station. Everything kind of flows into the middle of the system. So you would need land or something near that pump station. Where that pump station is located isn't ideal.
So do,
For-
do the REUs and the rest, basically, I was surprised to hear that there's a maximum daily limit. I didn't realize that. So there sounds like there's a reason to have storage, but do the REUs in the restaurant area transmit to actual capacity? In other words, is that really what they use, or is it just an arbitrary number that they picked for?
Yeah, so that's why we meter. That's why we meter to get actual. So whenever if you're tuning into a planning commission meeting and hear Sally or Stacy present, or me at the BOT meeting and the board approves REUs for a restaurant or single family house, we approve a certain amount of REUs. Those are theoretical. They're based on Ann Arbor's method of calculating. About 300 gallons a day is our residential equivalent unit is a REU. So one house would, theoretically produce 300 gallons a day. I think that's heavy, to be honest. So it's a conservative way of calculating. And we do kind of keep a track. Once we meter, we keep track so we know kind of where we're headed. But in actuality, as long as we're keeping the system tight and dry and not absorbing rainwater or groundwater, we're probably doing better than what we theoretically think. But it's important to, do the maintenance Brandon is planning on doing and keeping that up, and then us to keep a tab on how we're doing and what we're approving, because at some point we're not only going to hit the physical daily contract capacity, but we're also going to hit physical capacity. Good news is the force main that's along Jackson Road east of Zeeb, we cut that open at Parkland Plaza. If you remember the little construction project we had in the median over there about 2 years ago, we had to fix the air leaf valve over there. And we took an opportunity to camera up and down that force main 500 feet in each direction. That sanitary sewer force main is lined and in very good condition in that location. That was one of the locations we were most worried about. And actually that force main is the way it's sized fine. So we've looked at studies for previous boards on doing a redundant parallel force main in case that ever does break, thinking it was in bad condition. Force main's in I'll say decent condition, probably better than we imagined based on stories we heard. And as far as what the pumps and the future pumps can handle, that 16-inch force main, in fact, we wish we had more sewage flowing through it based on how that's sized. 12-inch would probably be better, but it was put in oversized for good reason, because you don't want to have to go and replace that much force main. But the real physical limit at that pump station is the pumps. So Brandon Scott in there, and some of the things that, we might need contributions from future developments if a PUD comes through or something, would be for pump upsizing and modifications at that pump station.
That 70 miles of water, Brandon, how much of that is sewer leaks? Does that not count sewer leaks?
So
That's homeowner responsibility. That's property owner responsibility.
yeah, so the service lines are not accounted. That's just the water.
That's just the main.
It's the water main. And then the sewer mains was the more around the
That's
30.
what you have to maintain.
Correct.
Wow, that's a lot.
43 miles if I broke down.
Yeah, 43 miles of sewer, and I think it was a little over 70 for water. I have it written down on my map.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, what impressed me is you talk about meter life. And are these new meters you're talking about, are they interactive?
Yeah.
So if people had these meters, they could look on their phone and see if their toilet was leaking?
Correct.
That'd be huge for
Yep.
capacity.
Yeah.
That's amazing how much water you can go through on a line.
The biggest thing that is gonna help out with is the leaks.
Yes.
The leaks are gonna be the leaks and the residents being able to set a text message or an email alert that's saying, hey, your meter's detecting a leak or an intermittent leak is huge. Right now, like I said, I have to wait 3 months in order to get the majority of the meter information back. We only have about 200 Metron meters put in. I can easily create 40 or 50 work orders each time we do the reads of just checking to make sure customers don't have a leak.
There may be businesses that welcome participating in a cooperative program to do that, just looking at.
Yeah, the app is.
How it might reduce their water bill, and then it helps the township as far as their capacity, as far as.
Yeah, anything that goes in the sewer from that.
Clean water.
Yep. So, and that app is free. It comes with the price of the meter for the first 10 years. So they're not having to pay any additional cost.
And what's a 5/8 meter?
5/8 meter is $365. So, and then
That's a one.
your average commercial building is probably a 1 inch. That's, I forget, $695 or something like that.
But I'm thinking, if you're not having people participate, just suggest you might want to offer that up, because
Yeah, so in the Upland district that we specifically targeted, I put out a flyer of them, letting them know that we have this happening, and then also the utility techs also give the information. We have a sheet that we pass out, and it's all volunteer based. So if you wanna create a username, all that for WaterScope, the customers are more welcome to. Again, it's free.
that's really cool.
So, and then in the fall, or maybe even in the spring of next year, I wanted to have a presentation on Zoom and invite people here just specifically for WaterScope and how to navigate it, to help out a little bit with that.
So do you know the value of the RUs that are left, and will that go towards the capital improvements, or does that just go towards, I'm
I'm
in
sorry.
other words, someone who develops a building has to pay a fee.
Correct.
Does that go towards capital improvements, or what funds that go to?
So it's
And what's
spread
the
out.
value of that?
Yeah, it's spread out throughout the budget right now. So basically, it's the tap fees that we collect. And so if it's a 5/8 meter, we collect almost $20,000 per every 5/8 meter. And so I would say, like with UComs, I think it was $1.2 million worth of tap fees. Now all of that does not come to South Township. A smaller portion of it, but still a significant amount, goes to Ann Arbor. But yeah, those get spread out evenly throughout the budget. That's basically it. Just one giant pool, and then we figure out how we need to spend anything, what we need to reserve, what we need to plan for the future. So it's not, I would say we don't have a specific savings account that says this is specifically for future projects. It's just, now that we did a rate study and you guys seen the effects of it, that is to be done every year. And every year we bring in whatever total that we have, how much money that we have in our total savings account and on hand. That will be figured out in the new rate study and the new projects that are gonna be added to the capital improvement plan. And then it all gets done through that rate study, and it disputes out, what we need to budget certain areas. And so that's how we'll be doing it each year going forward.
So on your capital, you say you want a garage, a warehouse garage, backhoe, Vector. Have you looked at, and I'm sure you've run the numbers on it. Can you do this with a retainer with somebody who puts you as priority for, because is it worth keeping the operators and people on site when you use your backhoe and you're operated every day? Or is it a make work kind of
So
position?
definitely in the long run, it's gonna be cheaper to have our equipment on hand, and our response time is gonna be far quicker. As of right now, the use of a backhoe, I wouldn't get that right away because we don't do it that much digging. But to have the capacity and the utility barn to accommodate that when the time comes. But certainly, the cost of having a Vector truck and a TV truck is going to pay off within a few years. A Vector truck, I believe right now for a 10-yard truck is $700,000. And then a TV truck is probably $200,000. We already have the personnel. Right now, if we did the proposed contract that I renegotiated down to $250,000 a year, every year for Infinity. As the prices continue to go up, they're gonna keep going up.
Is that what you're spending, about $250 a year?
That's what I have it down to right now is. So, and that price is always gonna go up each year, and it's gonna be every year forever. The only thing that you could take away a little bit of money from is how often we want a TV, but definitely I wanna get the whole township TV. Over the next.
They go together. Right?
Yeah, you don't have to always TV, but with what we have on hand, it's cassette tapes, some of them are CDs, and some are all the way as early 2000. So we don't have a good Rolodex of what our system is currently that I just have on hand that I can just access when I need to know what's going on in certain areas, or to figure out what OHM's gonna do. They're gonna rate all the pipes as far as the sewer goes, and then, you know, based off those ratings, we know when the budget for certain projects to be done. So the bring that in-house would be a benefit. The cost offhand is more money.
Is a TV, so basically what I'm hearing is that a TV could be an immediate need and immediate benefit. Where the barn and the backhoe and the operator could be something down the road, but I mean, if you're gonna have to have all this stuff TV.
So the utility barn is needed because we have excess equipment and vehicles stored outside right now because they don't fit. And then, and I would not like to keep our Vector truck outside or the TV truck outside. We need a bigger inventory room. And so it's to help get the newer equipment that we need, to help for having expansion when we need it down the road. When we need to buy that backhoe, when we need more inventory room for supplies. It is a young system. We don't have very big water main, many water main breaks here, but that day will be coming soon. And if you don't have somebody here to do the water main breaks at your own building, where you can keep the cost under control, you'll be spending $20,000 to $30,000 every time you have a water main break.
So we're DDA and we have cash flow too. I mean, we have
Yep.
that same issue. You've got,
Yep.
I guess my question really was, is there something, is the TV kind of come before the other things, or is that later? Sounds like that's something you're gonna do immediately and pay a lot of money to do.
Yeah, you gotta proactively do it every year, and then based off the TV, what you're seeing in the pipes, you plan for your repairs. Water main, there's not a great way of, it's just how many years it's been in the ground. As you get more breaks on a certain section, you determine if you want to replace the whole sector, keep replacing it.
Any other questions? Rush, got any questions?
My question is just around the planning of all utility, just normal Scio Township. Where does the DDA come into play? Are we, no offense, are we just being asked because we have money? Or is it in general because we have to support the businesses in the DDA area?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure you understand that I didn't ask for the meeting, and I'm happy I'm here, trust me.
No,
I know
I did invite him.
yeah,
you might not know, so I didn't specifically ask DDA to hear us out so that we could get money. I didn't know this was possible. So any and all of your attention that you're giving me right now is great, and I appreciate it. So whatever, if you guys decide to give us 0 or what a little bit, that's great. Specifically,
We're nice to have.
yeah, specifically in the DDA, your biggest concerns are the pump station, and making sure you have enough capacity for further growth in your DDA district. And so if you could give us any help in the cost to upgrade the pump station or put in that redundant sewer main, or perhaps a redundant pump station. There's a few things that we're looking at, and that's why we budgeted the 10.2 million. We're definitely gonna have to do something here really soon in order to have the growth continue in the.
We'll get his wish list, Brandon's wish list.
Was it?
Yeah, Brandon,
Isn't
though,
the DDA here because of this infrastructure? I mean, we created, the township created the DDA in order to create this infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that increases township's tax base.
Well, yeah, there's, I mean, this was the vision for the DDA, so yeah, it's just.
So yeah, just the pump station itself, the main water valve is a big thing that would be helpful for the DDA district, specifically too. I think really those two are the big ticket items that we're looking at over the next 5 years. That if you guys were willing to provide some type of funding for, that you could put in your own budget, whenever you guys decide, those are the big things that would help out DDA.
Do you have an actual cost of those things, and how much money you budgeted, or you just shooting from the hip?
So the budgeted amount from professional opinions was the $810,000 for the water
Okay.
valve to be replaced, the main valve from Ann Arbor.
Well, you can put it together for me, you can put it together on a letter, so this is how much we have, this is how much they say it's gonna cost.
Okay, and we can see what the difference is. In my opinion, I can see, so I can tell you what. How much money we wanna spend, because right now you're going $10 million and you might have $1 million in your budget, so you're looking for 9. Or you got 9 you're looking
Right,
for 1.
so
You have no
I
idea
can
what it
answer
is.
that.
Okay.
Yep, so right now, because we did this rate study plan, the projects that you will see on the capital improvement plan for utilities. Over the next 5 years, will generate enough money to do all of them on our own. However, if the DDA chooses to help out, that means that these rates can come down a little bit. If I know the money there, and once we receive that, I doubt. But it means that we don't have to collect all the money from, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do every year.
Okay.
And I just want to say that is, based on the money that we have on hand and the projects that we have, it will calculate a new rate each year. Now, if nothing changes besides the projects that we have right now, and the DDA pitches in $1 million, that's $1 million off the rate study that we'll be putting in, and the rate should come down. That's what we're supposed to do every year. And so we will have the money for all the projects.
Thing I would like to look at a little bit, because you.
So we'll
you're
get a
saying-
list of his, we
You're
gotta,
saying
we
things
gotta
like
move
you can
on.
buy a truck, you can buy a vacuum truck, and you buy a vacuum truck and a camera truck that costs $1 million, basically 2 of them. Right now, you're spending $250,000 for that a year. Well, that's a no-brainer. That's a 25% return, a 30% return of your money, so you sure that should be a priority. You shouldn't, I mean, I'll give you $1 million, you give me $250 a year. I mean.
We'll get the numbers for you, Gus.
You're right.
Not, I understand it.
I'm just saying, why not?
He'd do it in his head.
So let's see all that. I like to see all that in a paper, and then we.
One last question I've got is, are we at the mercy of Ann Arbor? Because they're the water treatment center, the water that we get from them,
Yep,
right? I mean, we are.
Yep.
So,
Well, and that tap fees, the total that you were mentioning earlier, does that include the half of the tap fee that goes to Ann Arbor? Or is
so
that
it's
just
not quite
that?
half, but yes, I did mention that, let's say for a residential meter, it's $19,834 that they have to pay for the tap fee. Now, we get more than half of that amount for the Scio Township, but maybe 1/4 or a little over that is definitely going to the city of Ann Arbor.
I thought it was more like 50-50.
It's not quite 50-50.
Okay.
It favors us by a little bit, not a
Okay.
whole lot, but it does. But yes, we are definitely at the mercies. As Matt said, our water, we could kind of expand anywhere. Sewer is limited, and until we renegotiate, at some point in time, we'll have to come to the board and say, you can't approve anything else, as far as sewer goes.
And that's important to note because Ann Arbor's actually going through their water master plan for drinking water right now. And they're looking for projections, right? They want to know what's Scio's plan, what's Scio going to do, how's Scio going to grow. And the fact that they're taking on some of that tap fee, some of that should be used for maintaining that infrastructure that gets water to you, but also for growth of that infrastructure. So, but when somebody said it, I don't know who said it, but are we at the mercy of Ann Arbor? Yeah, but no. It really boils down to communication. We try to meet monthly, letting each other know, being a good neighbor and working with them. They're not just gonna jack rates up just to do it, but at the same time, you definitely want to be smart about your negotiation and be realistic on what you want to do. I mean, you can't just say we're going to triple the size of our water district and build like crazy. I don't think that's anybody's necessarily vision for Scio, but if you make some kind of rapid change, then you're really changing things on Ann Arbor where they can say, well, you can do whatever you want as long as you're paying for it, right? And the last thing you want to do is spend tens of millions of dollars in Ann Arbor. Scio, if you remember way back to 2005, 6, 7, Scio has paid for upgrades in Ann Arbor. And it's very difficult to get loans for that because you don't own and maintain the infrastructure. But you've done it in the past, and it's all based on how your contract's written. So those are all important things to think about. But Ann Arbor is going through that process right now where they want to know what Scio's doing, and Scio's kind of at that point where we're starting the planning process to get get going on what we want to be in, 5, 10, 8 years from now.
But Matt, just so that we're clear, whenever we come to that capacity that we agreed to, if we don't negotiate, we won't be able to expand anymore
Correct.
in the sewer, right?
Correct.
I want to get that clear.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
so.
Yeah. I mean,
we are
they're not going to
implementing-
hold you hostage. I mean, if you exceed it once or twice, it's probably not the end of the world, but at some point you're going to be exceeding it every day. And that's where they're going to have a problem. And that's where we're going to have to figure out, what does that mean? And probably what that means is infrastructure upgrades in Ann Arbor, or that's why it's so important to keep all the infiltration water out of the system, is because, that if you can subtract that out of your system, you should be doing it anyway. So it saves money. It saves money in the long run. So
The only thing that might precipitate, that I can imagine that might precipitate an emergency kind of situation with Ann Arbor is if we started discovering that the Gelman plume had, was infiltrating private wells at a level that necessitated coming up with replacing a lot of water supply quickly. And but that's not happening yet, or maybe it won't ever happen, but
Well, I think a lot of that, yeah, I mean, the levels need to get higher, but from what the little that I know about it, our maximum contaminant level is the highest in America for what we allow of the dioxin to be in our system. So if that number actually ever got lower to what the average is probably for the nation, we'd be a lot closer to being at those levels where you don't want to be drinking the water on a consistent basis. So I think that's important to know. And at any time, I mean, the levels could get higher. Where you're gonna be in a city of Flint situation, I don't want to say that, where nobody's drinking their well water, passing out bottled water like crazy. And then you're behind on trying to get new water main to the area. And so I think from what I've seen so far, there's been an overwhelming amount of support from Scio Township and the city of Ann Arbor pushing to get things taken care of with the Gelman plume as proactive as they can. I think it's only a matter of time until new water mains put in those areas, that everybody is comfortable and safe, and we don't have that crisis on our hands. But that doesn't truly affect the DDA on a big scale. I didn't mention it, but certainly there's some things that yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about the DDA only, it's not gonna affect their actual budget. There's some bigger projects down the line that are gonna cost more money that isn't in the DDA district that I didn't
I
mention.
mean, as far as I know, everybody in the DDA is on water. I don't think there's an area, is there an area not on?
There's a few,
Yeah,
there's a few that are on well water still. Go to roofing, just call, they're on a well. So very few, but as soon as their wells break, they're supposed to be mandated to connect to our system, so.
Well, good. So, I think in those emails, we got Matt's and Brandon's email. If you want to follow up with any questions, we'll get a list from Brandon later on. And we'll share it to everybody, and then I'm sure we'll bring up these projects again soon.
I did
Okay.
forward Bob the CIP list, copied Brandy and Christie on it, and then there's a PowerPoint presentation that we did back in 2020. It was just like a utilities 101 thing.
Good.
When Scott Martin retired and new directors came in, we gave this to various groups, so you guys can attach that to your minute. So the people that are listening in, I see Rob and Kathleen and Pam and Pat are all on, so they can read it too. But it's just general information. It's nothing that the board hasn't seen in the past, so it's all information that I think is good to know. And if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out.
Good. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes from your vacation.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry about the
It's all right.
the tardiness and the no video
No.
working.
Oh, we're good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Yep.
good. Thanks, man.
That's like 10 years. Looks good. All right. Yeah, we'll follow up with that as well. So let's approve the minutes from last meeting, kind of doing this in a lot of order, but I wanted to get them on first. Sit here. Take a look at the meetings.
That we approve minutes as presented by the secretary.
I'll second.
Okay, second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you. That, special meetings, I don't have, we'll just get to the agenda, I don't have a report. Kathleen just pointed out that the Mexican restaurant, again, we approved that liquor license, they still don't have their liquor license. Again, it's more of a state issue. We went in there it was nice, you can't have a beer with you.
They have a liquor menu, but they have
Yeah,
no
they
liquor
got-
license.
yeah. But again, it's more of we approve it and it's still gotta get approved through the state of Michigan, so.
We
It's hung
being
up
the
there, so-
township,
We, the DDA.
right?
It was a DDA liquor license, but
Well, but it just came through the township. This body, even if it's a DDA license, it's not.
Passed it to you.
Yeah.
it did, the township approved it, so. Either way, it's not, so I don't think there's anything we can do. Maybe we can, the attorneys we work with, they specialize in that, so maybe we'll put a bug in there and see if that would help, but
Yeah, I'm not sure what the holdup is.
yeah, it's a state of Michigan issue. But, do you have anything to add, Will? Township supervisor report?
Well, I see other things later on the
Yeah.
agenda that,
Good
no,
through
I won't preempt.
All right, marketing committee, we're gonna talk about that in a little while too. So let's turn over the next set. So we got the utilities update. The landscape. What did I skip? Marketing?
No, it's landscaping.
Landscape. Oh, yeah, landscape, sorry. Gus, update on that.
I wanted to tell you that there's a couple of dead trees. They will be removed. And there's a lot of trimming that needs to be done on the trees because they look like they're coming from the bottom up so they can look nice and a couple things that we picked up, small cleanup. Also, I think there's
Are
someone.
they on, they're on that end or this end?
There's an,
Yeah.
and I think that some of the planting last year, I think they should be watered. I think they're kind of wilting, so they're not alive as they're supposed to be, so. I know we have 20 grand for watering. I can reach out to people, tell them to spend maybe a couple thousand, 3,000, whatever to water them. And also give us a price on cleaning everything up and pulling those dead trees out. And call you up.
You wanna replace those trees?
Not now.
No.
Not now, yeah.
No.
Wrong season.
I think the areas that they are, there's a lot of trees around, so I don't think you're gonna make any difference replacing those trees. Especially with the one down here, there's like 4 of them around.
Who instigates the removal and the trimming of the trees?
I mean, Chris again has done.
I have a guy to do them, the guy that has a contract, but I told him, I told him to give him the price first before I do it.
Yeah, good.
I don't wanna give anybody a blank.
And again, last year when the drought, we had Chris water, but he had a small truck and went back and forth and he charged us for it. So I'd maybe get 2 bids for watering.
Yeah,
Find out somebody.
it'd be cheaper than this guy, than Chris, I can tell you that.
In the past, people wanted us to have the fire department do it, but they don't, they got the water, but I don't think they have the
Well, the thing
the
is,
skills to water the.
do they use hydrant water now, or do they? Because, I mean, I used to have my people, they pump out of Honey Creek and use Honey Creek water for watering their landscapes.
Mhm.
Doing hydro seeding, things like that. There's a spot right down on Pratt Road, perfect.
I'll reach out to him.
Because it's free water.
See a couple
Yeah,
bits.
pump it in your truck.
That's good. All right, marketing we'll talk about. Utilities we just covered. Again, the road and pathways. It's just driving here to the meeting. There's a bunch of guys down here putting paint on the roads by Meyer. Jennifer, so we're gonna get that down in here. Excited about that. But again, that area, and we're not engineers, but that area is used more than any other area in the boulevard. Because everybody has to turn that way to go back left. So if there's wear and tear there, I think that's a good spot to put it. Right in front of, sports bar. Up that way. I thought they would start, they said after the 4th of July, but I thought they'd start that.
Signs up today, billboard signs.
Yeah. So they're starting on that. Just, what do we agree to? Pathway projects, Will, anything going on there?
The board approved engineering by OHM on two different projects. One is phase 5 of the Zebro pathway that's outside the DDA. And there's one that's right on the edge of the DDA, and that's Park Road, which I think everyone's familiar with the situation there. The Trailwoods subdivision is going to move forward with their agreement to pave Stabler and Park up to Cedar Ridge and Versailles. And that leaves that section between there and Zeeb unpaved. This engineering is to look at what would be involved in doing that project. The township still has to come up with all of the funding to pay for it, but we have some from the state, and that's what is being drawn on that state grant to pay for the engineering so that we're ready to go forward when the time comes.
Well, so they now have approved the relocation of the bridge at Stabler and Park Road, but that project won't happen still this year. It'll be a 25 project, or are they going to still try and fit it into 24? Do you know?
I don't know what they're going to be able to do. It is kind of late in the construction season, but on the other hand, they were ready to go last year, so
They may push.
they may push to get some of that done this year, but I don't know.
Is that in the DDA district? Just off.
Yeah, that's
Just outside, although that there's like two phases for their
Part in, part out.
part in and part out. I think that because there's the first they have to pave and replace the culvert that's at the intersection of Stabler and Park, but then the next phase is to replace the box culvert bridge that's further north, which I think is right on the edge of the DDA. And that would include also putting in a pedestrian crossing of Honey Creek at that juncture.
Are they thinking about a roundabout then at Park and Zeeb?
Yeah, the thing that may involve the DDA is eventually the road commission wants to replace the intersection at Park and Zeeb with a roundabout. But because they're now looking at doing a roundabout, they're looking for some other federal funds or something to help pay for that. And but they may come back to the township and the DDA, because that is in the DDA, to look for some kind of matching funds to help pay for that.
They're gonna pay Park or?
Well, they might have to repave a portion of Park at the intersection, but they're not going to pave the section that I just no, not to the west.
And not from the east, right? From Zeeb East up the hill, Park, the backside.
Well, that's already, that part's already paved up to a point, and then it turns, I think near Hunter Trail or something like that.
Well, that was an SAD, wasn't
I think it was actually two SADs.
it? Yeah.
All right. Good. An update on the potential park back here. Again, the DDA approved architects to come up with 3 different designs. So we met with them, walked around with them, and then I'm sure we'll have those ideas back at the end of the summer, and then we'll probably turn it over to the parks to see. You know, it doesn't look like it's going to be an active park right away. Those items might be added later. So I don't know how much the DDA is going to be involved in that. I'll just see what we did provide the potential picture for the park. See, because you know, I referenced Chelsea because they're going through the same thing. They got the businesses involved to help fund it, which we wanted to do. They've already put in a pickleball court in Chelsea, and people are using that like crazy. Yeah. And then I went by Leslie Park, and there's 40 people out playing pickleball there. And so I think an active park gets people there, but.
So we just heard Brandon say that he wants an equipment garage for the utility department, which is certainly not drawn anywhere into that plan for the walkway back into the park. And they're going to want it to be back
No, they don't.
to close to where they are. They want it elsewhere.
Down Stabler on the piece of property back there, maybe away from here.
Okay.
They might though.
I was just gonna say, if they're asking for a garage, we might ask him to make sure if we've got a park plan that doesn't leave a pad for a garage or a barn.
Well, there's land directly behind us here that's not sort of part of the footprint of the Township Hall Park that could,
Yeah.
in theory, be the site for a utility garage.
Is it wet?
You can see it.
The
just-
limited area. kind of behind the park.
Yeah, exactly. Directly behind Jay, there's wooded area there on the other side of the parking lot.
How deep does the township own?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but we do own some distance back into that woods before it becomes county road commission land.
But Jeff, what was the road? Is it Stabler that we talked to? Because there was, again, 15, 20 years ago, there was talk about doing our own sewer and water, and there's property back there that Jeff and I talked to the Kiwanis Club about, and that's where that Brandon would like to be back out there, I think, away from everything.
And he said it's Stabler.
And then Scio owns that property, so it might be a good use of it, but that's in the DDA.
Well, there's about 30 acres, so it could have multiple
Yeah.
uses. You wouldn't need a 30-acre utility garage.
Right.
You know, he needs 75 by 100 probably feet.
Right.
Footprint.
Nice, but- So,
Well, let's ask him about that when he comes back to us
right.
and see what his thought
Realize
is.
it's a Class B road, Stabler's a Class B road with certain seasons, they're loaded with a Vector truck and
Yeah, you know, yeah.
utility trucks, they might have to rebuild the road.
Right.
So I don't think they know that.
All right. So again, the park, we'll wait to see what the architects come up with. And I'm sure we'll go over that at the next meeting, hopefully. Any questions on that? Marketing. So again, we sent out just a quick generic, didn't look great, email to about 100 businesses on the boulevard in the area, just a welcome DDA introduction, take care of your yard, kind of just a general email. And I go back and forth, how much marketing do we want to do? Some DDAs have a nice website, market the heck out of it, but usually they have a business district, a resident or a retail district that they advertise. You know, I don't know if we want to go all, spend a lot of money on marketing or just a light touch and help them where we can. I kind of go back and forth. Even this email, I think we send it out twice a year, maybe, mow your lawn, shovel your driveways, summer and a winter.
Do we
So
want to
my-
welcome to the township for new businesses, make them aware of new, how far you
Yeah.
want to go?
We can. Send a welcome kit out to people. That's my question. I go back and forth on it too, like. I think a lot of the businesses want us to leave them alone,
Thing is, I mean, we might be able to sell advertising to the local.
Yeah.
For real estate
Could be revenue.
people. And of course, it could also be linked to. What's it called?
But,
Spark.
WBA or something?
Spark.
Yeah, Spark would be good. Yeah, we could, take it
But
4
we
hours.
can sell some ads to support it if we want. I mean, if I'm a realtor, that's
All right.
what I'm gonna do. Haven't changed that.
All right.
It just reminded me,
do you
there's
think?
a couple things on the agenda tomorrow night that involve new projects in the DDA. One's the Firestone coming in next to Culver's. And the other is, and that's relocating from downtown Ann Arbor to Scio Township. The other one is there's a proposal for a housing development on the outlot that's right on the edge of the DDA next to Menards. They did originally propose self-storage and that got turned down. So they came back with residential, which is what people said they wanted. So
Next to
That's the lot facing Stabler, right?
it's the lot that's kind of tucked away in next to sort of to the east of Menards. So it's right next to where they have their sort of their outside displays.
The one way back off the road behind.
Yeah.
Behind the black diesel.
So behind Menards,
Well, kind of behind Menards,
on
yeah,
the east side.
on the east side,
right
yeah.
next to you, Tim.
Right next, there's like a
Is that
big
next to you or
retention
is it a lot
pond there.
over?
It's right
Oh,
next to it.
I'm not right next to Menards. I'm right next to Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
My building's next to Tractor Supply. We have the development, Tractor Supply, and then that's what sits in between Brian and myself.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
But Carl,
again, how much marketing you want to do? Do we want to hire a social media person? All those things. Maybe I get some pricing and then we'll talk about how much, what we can do.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. But again, we bought Constant Contact, got that going, so we have that. And it is a good tool. If there's an issue, get it out. And we're still collecting more emails. Hiring a scanning company. I think we look at that in September. I know Scio again might do a project like that, right? That's why maybe these things we should just do ourselves, because we're gonna wait.
Well, we're about.
Just like Brandon, like he wants to get online to look at those things. And I think, we have a question from a meeting 5-10 years ago, it'd be easy to pull up, so. Instead of in boxes in the basement,
It is a little inconvenient.
right? I don't think it's not a heavy lift to have somebody scan all that stuff. They got it down now.
The concern is
Right.
that the township manager's leaving at the end of July.
Yeah.
And yes, no,
September
September
15th.
15th.
September
Oh, good.
15th.
All right, I was gonna say, someone said very soon, I was thinking, oh, and so it's gonna be even more difficult to do things because staff will be shorter here to give any assistance with
Well,
scanning.
that's why that's
So
why.
we gotta get it done
Exactly.
before the township manager leaves.
Or get an interim township manager.
Yeah, interim, another one.
We're getting good at this now.
Yeah, we're through the.
I'm
fourth and
hopeful,
fifth.
but not.
Smooch
optimistic.
project. So I was over there in the morning for coffee. It wasn't at night. I was over there and I said, hey, can I get a little tour? So that's kind of, I put that in your packet. I didn't put it on an email, took some pictures. You construction people would know more than, they're showing me I don't know what it is, but it's more about drainage off the roof, I think, to put it somewhere. But they put all these pipes in. I don't know if it's in the packet, but I emailed it to you.
Are
I'll
you
pass
sure,
this
are you
around.
sure the material is coming down the pipe or not going up the pipe?
Yes, that's a good question. I don't think it's going.
I thought the whole
It's
point
going
was to vent the stuff that's underneath.
The yellow pipe is.
Yeah, no, that's
They tore down and the building's probably, I would say it's 440,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
oh, you got it.
Yeah.
It's a big one and they took down a wall. But again, and I copied Jeff and Jay, the construction people on this, but they're still in there and they're asking if this, and the only thing, because it's up to about 900,000 now. I just don't want it to go on forever if it's, and I don't know if there's any issues from the DDA, but I asked them today and copied and sent back an email that there's a couple things they're still finishing up, but they hope to be done soon, so. But it seems to be going well, but it's not done yet, so just want a timeline, rough timeline. I don't want right? I don't want a $5 million project and have some problems and then we get blamed for it. So. But again, that's what they're making the smooch. It's like a creamy, I haven't had one. Jeff, you probably drink a bunch of those. But it's like a creamy ale or something.
It's a smooth, it's like a spiked smoothie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking the wrong generation.
I know, it's just kids. That's a cool place though.
It's got a room, if you have a meeting there next time.
Yeah, there you go. So hopefully that project will wrap up before the end of the year. And again, just like the scanning, maybe we do need our own tree fund. Because just like the trees there, if we replace those trees, we got to pay for them. If we had businesses that move in here, kick in a little bit to a tree fund, even $100 or something.
Can we get trees from the tree fund?
No, we can't.
There's a policy that is still yet to come to the Board of Trustees for approval. And within the draft policy, there are different categories. And one of the categories is, by application, people could seek to get trees in different locations. But most of the policy is aimed at sort of projects that would do sort of larger scale reforestation kind of. So for example, on that township owned land next to Stabler near the intersection of Stabler and Park, there's a large area that is identified as a good candidate for reforestation.
This is the property the township owns?
Yes.
So we're gonna turn the property we paid retail commercial rates for, turn it into a forest.
It's a nature preserve.
It's a nature, it was purchased to be a sewage treatment. plant.
No,
this is
You're
down
thinking, you're
Park
thinking
and
north on
Stabler.
Stabler. This is south on Stabler.
Parks is the down-
Park and
down
Stabler.
the- Don't know how. But did we get that fair vote?
It was a land preservation purchase. And the intent was to create a natural open, or to preserve a natural open space.
Again, if we're not able to get trees from the tree fund that the businesses put the money into.
It was always about each tree, now it's about parks and preservation.
Right, so maybe we, I don't know,
Boulevard, just.
but the process would be right. If there's a new construction, we tack on $100 and we add it to the DDA tree fund. So
Why don't this, I think we're getting into the weeds, so to speak, but I know that why don't we wait until we actually have the policy come back and then we can react to it if the DDA wants to, at that time, but it's not before the Board of Trustees yet.
And the same thing with the roads, there's a road committee, but it doesn't seem like they're interested in help and it's okay, they're not focused on the DDA roads. So maybe we can have somebody that meets with the road commission, now before the fall, before the numbers come out, to see where the projects are. I think we've got about 9 feeder roads and then the Jackson Boulevard to worry about. But I think us having a direct conversations with Washington Road Committee would be good annually.
I mean, the Washington Road Commission as opposed to the Township's Road Advisory Committee.
Yeah, because they're not,
They're
What
only
I-
doing local roads. They're
right.
not doing
Linda says they're
commercial
not
roads.
interested in helping with the DDA roads.
We don't consider it to be in their charge.
So again, we need to, we can't let it just go, so. So think about it, maybe somebody here can lead up one of those committees. All right, any questions on that? Anything else you want to add to the discussion topics? 1:30, we'll get to the bills and the budget and the cash flow. Sandy put everything in there.
Okay, I only had 2 bills come in, one from the attorney and then the annual bond maintenance fee bill came in on Friday. And then Bob wanted me to add the 250,000 we owe the road commission. They said they had sent us a bill in July for getting started on this work. So since we don't have another meeting till September, we're adding that.
So Sandy, a question, did the investment class account end up under classified at? I looked at the account sheet and saw it down there, I was like.
Well, I don't have the ability to
Move it.
put those things in the system. And so when the account number is added to the system, the person who's adding it is not ticky-tabbying all the necessary boxes to get it where it needs to belong.
I got Jennifer, you're on that account, Gus is on that account. I mean, I'm not on it, so maybe you guys next quarter, make sure we get the investment statement.
I will talk
Sandy
to
can't look at it, I'm not gonna look.
powers that be and
So,
see if we can get that fixed.
Wasn't a big deal, I just.
Oh,
No,
it should be in the report.
Like, oh, no, it's down here.
Unfortunately, if you look at all of the township's balance sheets, you will see those things all over the place.
Yeah, Brian's gonna look into it.
So do we have any bills to approve?
Yes, those 3.
Okay.
It's the attorney, the Huntington Bank for the bond fee, maintenance fee, and the road commission for 250,000.
I move that we pay the bills as presented.
Yeah,
I'll
voice-
second.
Second, you gotta do a voice vote. All those in favor, go around, Gus, Ryan, Jay, Jennifer, Jeff, Tim,
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
Linda,
Yes,
Bob, yes, motion passes, thank you. And again, looking at our cash in the accounts, roughly 3.9, about $1 million's gonna go out for roads. And then revenue is gonna be over 2 million again, so. So we're getting some of this money working, which is good. Again, on this sheet, it shows it $25 million in assets, but that's the road. You can't eat asphalt, so it's not.
No, you gotta look at cash.
People, I get you. So you got 25 million, we don't have. that. All right, any other questions? That was good. We'll follow up with Brandon. Some other things we'll follow up on. Again, if somebody wants to, be the person maybe in charge of the roads committee, just to have that conversation, I'm willing to help, but rather somebody else kind of take that, and then we'll talk about the trees again, and Gus is gonna follow up with the landscape, and we'll follow up with Brandon as well.
That's the EIN number down here.
EIN, we're still, we,
Waiting on,
we don't have one, and,
still waiting on one.
right,
Can we just turn that over to our attorney, let him do it?
yeah, I thought I did, but,
Okay. That's where I used to do it.
I mean, I think it'd be better just to get a new one's really easy to get.
It's easy.
But again, do we want to do, well, we think we might have had, that's the problem. We think we have in the 80s, but you can't talk to the IRS. And the website said mail them a letter. I mailed that, 8 months ago. Haven't heard back, so. Or maybe we get a new one. If that's, I think we should have a separate one.
I think.
Because our bank accounts are all in our Scios. Like, I think we'd be good to.
Yeah, you might as well have a flat rate.
We got Ryan in the treasurer office now, so I think he can help separate it
You
out.
do
So,
that.
good. All those in favor of ending the meeting? Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
1:32.
All those in
I'd
favor
say aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, so who was my first and my second on the motion to adjourn?
I can be the maker of the motion.
I'd be second.
Thank you.
Apologies for the interruptions, gang.
Good
I'm
summer,
trying to
guys.
do your technical problem.
Going fast.
Oh, I can't wait for all of this summer.
What's on seven?
It
isn't.
All right, do you want Van Boyd and see what she wanted?
What?
And Van Boyd and see what she wanted?
No.
Am I ending the meeting?
We have public comments right here. That's all we have.